Good morning, readers and writers. Today is Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. And as you know, we are going to go into our new story for the week called Stray by Cynthia Rylant. We did read another story by her called Shells that kind of goes along with the same theme as Shells. It's a story about an abandoned dog. Doris happens to find it and she brings it home to her parents, and then the story goes on from there. So you're going to be reading that story today on your own, with keeping this lesson in mind, writing about reading. So today I want to teach you that when writing about reading, you should expect to come up with new ideas. So you guys have been doing really well with coming up with new ideas, but now we're going to be going back to the drawing board of drafting and free writing and drawing and coming up with charts, or any kind of notebook strategy that you can use to come up with new ideas about what you're reading. As you write, be sure that you're thinking and big ideas are being explained and developed. So we're going to be free writing, boys and girls, but we have to remember that we are going to be explaining and developing as we're free writing our new ideas using our mentor text Stray. Writers can do this by free writing to explain their big ideas so that others can grasp their thinking. So with that being said, guys, today we're going to be reading. I'm going to let you read Stray that I've attached to the post. You will read it, and then you will do a little bit of thinking about it, and you will think in a way that you're going to grow your ideas. So with that being said, I was thinking about the story, and I came up with, this is my diagram. So I noticed something as I was reading. So Stray by Cynthia Rylant. What I noticed as a reader who is also thinking about their writing, if this was my notebook, I started thinking about the puppy. So you're going to notice, readers, that as you read the story, the introduction of the story, the beginning of the story, talks a lot about the dog. It describes a lot about the dog. So I started thinking right away about the dog. And then as I met the characters in the story, then I tied the dog to their perspectives. So if this was my notebook, I would start my chart writing all I knew about the dog, explaining all I knew about the puppy. And then as the story went on, I realized that Rylant, the author, tells the story from three different people, from three different characters in the story. So as a reader, I get three different perspectives. I get Mr. Lacey's perspective, who's the father, the dad. I get Mrs. Lacey, the mom's perspective, and I get Doris's perspective. Doris is their daughter who finds the dog. So as I read the story, I always was thinking about everyone's individual connection to the dog. And as you read, readers, you're going to find out that Doris has the biggest connection to the dog because she finds the dog. But then she also has her parents who have other perspectives on the dog. So they actually have two different perspectives. Dad has a pretty strong response to the dog at first. Mom kind of not sure. If you guys, readers, I'm going to let you decide. Is she on Dad's side, or does she really have an unbiased opinion? Remember, readers, if we have an unbiased opinion, that means that we do not really have a strong opinion about something, and we don't have our own idea about it. So does Mrs. Lacey side with Dad, or does she not really have an opinion about the dog? So I'm going to let you guys think about that as you read. But again, readers, I would like to encourage you to free write, but also think about your your reading as a writer. So think about what that reading is going to look like in your notebooks. So I went a little further and I created a question for myself. So something just kept on sticking out to me as I kept on reading and reading the story. I was like, why might someone find this dog appealing? So what is so appealing about the dog? Remember, I said you guys, when you start to read the story, you're going to notice a big description about the dog. So to put this perspective of the dog, to put the idea of the dog into a big picture, I gave myself notes about the dog. So I noticed that it was a puppy. It was found in the cold snow. It was shaking from the cold. It was small in size, which is why it was called a puppy. And I noticed it was protecting itself, because as you read, you're going to notice that the author describes the dog as tucking their ears and tail close to their body, close to its body. So when you're cold, guys, you tuck your arms into close to your body, and to keep yourself warm. So the dog, who was found in the cold, was protecting itself by tucking its ears and tails close to its body. So why might someone find this puppy so appealing? So I had to remember, I made this chart as a way to remember how the dog is being described. So as I was reading the story, when I met a new character, I was always thinking back to the dog's appearance, because that's how I was thinking about, well, why is the dog so important, and why might somebody find this puppy appealing and want to help it? So why does Doris want to help it? And then as the story goes on, how do the other characters get involved with the dog? So readers, I will let you start this story. I'm going to invite you to be creative with your notes, making charts, listing the characters, listing what you know about them, and then as you read and make your charts and make your lists and make your reading notes, I'd like you to turn that into some free writing so that you can start to think about and develop, what is this story trying to explain? What is the story's big idea that I'm trying to figure out? What is the story really about? One more thing that I want to show you before you go and start your reading is, don't forget about when you explain your thinking. I would like you guys to study your responses as you're making your charts in your notebook. And you're going to keep on asking yourself over and over, did I make that thinking clear on the page? If you didn't, then ask yourself, what new thinking is this work leading me to? So why am I thinking so much more about the puppy? Why does the puppy matter so much more in the story in connection to Doris, her mom, and the dad? What does the puppy truly mean in the story? And write as if you were explaining your thought to somebody, if you're explaining your thinking to somebody. So you would just free write, talk like you were having a conversation about why this puppy is so important. And then expect your thinking to develop as you write. So readers and writers, I invite you to begin this story. How I'm leaving it up to you, leaving it up to your free writing, however you'd like to start this story. But again, I'm reminding you that the story is told from 3 different perspectives, and you are going to make your own notes about the puppy and how it pertains to the three characters in the story. And I can't wait to see you in Zoom tomorrow to discuss this story further, and I can't wait to see all of your free writing notes. Happy reading!